In a small village near the foothills of a great mountain, there lived a kind-hearted and generous man named Suman. Suman was known throughout the village for his willingness to help others. He would never refuse a request, no matter how inconvenient or demanding it was. Over time, his generosity began to take a toll on him. He was constantly exhausted, had little time for himself, and his own family felt neglected. Suman's wife Asha noticed the strain on her husband and grew increasingly worried. She suggested that he visit the Buddha, who was renowned for his wisdom and insight. Perhaps Buddha could provide guidance on how to balance his generous nature with his own well-being. One morning, Suman set out to find the Buddha. After a long journey, he arrived at the monastery where Buddha was residing. The serene surroundings and the calm demeanor of the monks immediately brought a sense of peace to Suman's troubled heart. Suman was welcomed and led to the Buddha, who was sitting under a large bonsai tree, surrounded by his disciples. He approached Buddha, bowed respectfully, and began to speak, his voice tinged with fatigue and concern. "Great Buddha," Suman said, "I am Suman from a nearby village. I have always believed in helping others and have never refused a request for assistance. But now I am exhausted. My own life is in disarray, and my family feels neglected. I do not know how to find balance. Please guide me." Buddha listened attentively, his eyes filled with compassion. He nodded understandingly and gestured for Suman to sit. "Suman," Buddha began, "your desire to help others is noble, but it is important to understand the balance between giving to others and taking care of yourself. Sometimes, saying no is necessary to preserve your own well-being and effectiveness." Buddha then shared a parable to illustrate his point. Once, there was a man who owned a beautiful, lush garden. People from all around came to admire its beauty and asked for flowers, fruits, and plants. The man, wanting to be generous, gave away everything that was asked for. Over time, his garden became barren, and he had nothing left to give. The garden, once a place of beauty and abundance, turned into a desolate space. Suman listened intently, understanding the deeper meaning behind Buddha's words. Buddha continued, "If the man had taken care of his garden, ensuring that it remained healthy and thriving, he could have continued to share its bounty with others for a long time. Similarly, you must take care of yourself to continue helping others effectively." "But how can I say no without feeling guilty or selfish?" Suman asked earnestly. Buddha smiled gently and said, "Saying no does not mean you are selfish. It means you are aware of your limits and understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. To help others, you must first ensure that you are well. Here are a few ways to approach this. Assess your capacity. Before agreeing to any request, consider your own physical, emotional, and mental capacity. If you are already stretched thin, it is okay to decline. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries about what you can and cannot do. Communicate these boundaries kindly but firmly. Prioritize self-care. Make time for activities that rejuvenate you, whether it's spending time with family, engaging in a hobby, or simply resting. Offer alternatives. If you cannot help someone directly, suggest other resources or people who might be able to assist. Remember, Buddha concluded, when you take care of yourself, you are in a better position to truly help others. Saying no when necessary is a form of wisdom and compassion, both for yourself and for those you aim to help. Suman felt a weight lift from his shoulders as he absorbed Buddha's teachings. He thanked Buddha for his profound wisdom and promised to apply these lessons in his life. Upon returning to his village, Suman began to implement the changes. He learned to assess his own capacity before agreeing to requests and set clear boundaries with kindness. He also made self-care a priority, spending more time with his family and engaging in activities that brought him joy and relaxation. Over time, Suman noticed a remarkable transformation. He felt more energized and focused, and his relationships with his family and villagers improved. He was still able to help others, but now he did so without sacrificing his own well-being. The villagers observed this change in Suman and were inspired by his newfound balance. They began to understand the importance of self-care and setting boundaries. Suman's journey and the wisdom of Buddha became a cherished story in the village, reminding everyone of the power of saying no when needed. Through this experience, Suman and the villagers learn that true generosity begins with taking care of oneself. By maintaining their own well-being, they could continue to support and uplift others more effectively and sustainably. The lesson of saying no with wisdom and compassion became a guiding principle in their lives, fostering a healthier, happier, and more balanced community.